Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to Amity Global Leadership Studio, which is a platform for thought leaders and C-suite executives to share their vision, ideas, and strategies to shape the future. I'm your host, Brigadier Rajesh Sharma, Director, Amity Institute of Training and Development, which provides learning and development solutions to our corporate clients. Today's topic in our Future of Work series is shaping the future of learning and development. Before I introduce our speaker, Mr. Nitin, I will just give you the context of the event. As we all know, ladies and gentlemen, the role of learning and development continues to broaden, with many learning leaders helping facilitate and support change initiatives in their organizations. In a year of unprecedented change, from the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic to recession and emerging recovery in India, leaders have been required to completely rethink how their businesses operate and find new avenues to reach their goals. The training function has been integral to helping organizations to transition to a remote workforce, shift in-person events to virtual environment, and to transform digitally. The influx of change has made it important to plan for the long-term growth. How can businesses ensure employees have the skills they need to meet the ever-changing needs of their business? What is the changing nature of work, and how can L&D leaders guide their organizations through change and achieve success? To discuss these and other key trends, we have invited Mr. Nitin Thakur, Head Learning and Development at Jindal Stainless Limited, which is a $3.2 billion company and India's largest stainless steel manufacturer with 15,000 employees across the globe. Mr. Nitin is a Harvard alumnus and a TEDx speaker with 20 years of visionary leadership in talent management, leadership development, and learning. As the head of learning and development for Jindal Stainless, he is responsible for building a learning culture that helps employees enhance their capabilities and performance through continuous learning. Mr. Nitin is an author, an NLP master practitioner, and executive coach. He is MSc Psychology, MBA, Masters in Training and Development, and assessor with specialization in psychometrics and 360 degrees feedback. Welcome, Mr. Nitin, and how are we today?
Thank you very much, sir. Beautiful. I'm very good, living my dreams.
Yeah, good to have you today, sir. You're looking fine and fresh. And I'll start off the discussion today, sir, by asking you, because we know what we all have been through the last 1 year. I will start off by asking you to help us understand the impact that COVID-19 had on JSL business and how your learning and development initiatives, changed to help your company overcome these challenges, and what have been your learnings in the last 1 year during 2020?
Sure. So what has been the business impact, how learning and development functioned during this time, and what were my learnings? I would say the first quarter was definitely a big hit for most of the businesses, and similar was the case with us. We are a manufacturing organization, transport, supply chain, everything was kind of a challenge, and manufacturing unit itself was in a difficult situation to be operated, and we are led by the production targets. And it was a difficult time, so the quarter really got impacted. But I think it was a very swift recovery we were able to make by the third month of Corona, and we started coming to the business. Second quarter went really well, third quarter even better, and finally we closed the fourth quarter, the annual targets, pretty much as we thought about. So I would say for business, It was initial challenges, but later on it went really well. Talking about how did we manage it as an L&D department, it was it's a beautiful story when I reflect on it today. So I still remember it was about 12th of March when I called my team for a meeting and I said that we need to review our L&D strategy because Corona is coming now. We have to plan accordingly. And I was really, really upset that we have to submit the award, so much of pressure going on, and you have to do a meeting. And my team is that comfortable that they call me, "You're crazy, you want to do this now?" And I said, "Yes, we want to do this now." And when we had those discussions on 12th of March, we actually discussed about the areas we planning to implement classroom trainings. We quickly were able to think about those areas, put them on hold. We looked up to the areas that we were planning to do online because in JSL we have never been on online training and all those things. So it was the first time we were starting. So we prioritized those areas, we prioritized those investments. So 12th of March, we had a backup strategy ready. If something goes wrong, what are we going to do? Because I've worked in Asia Pacific and globally a lot in many countries, so I was getting a lot of information from my network from other countries where I had a clear idea that countries are shutting down and that would be the case with our country too. So there was a constant worry. And the worry was that what would happen to my team, to the learning and development department, if we are not planned and if we are not delivering to the business, our department would be the first one to come in the fire. So it was
Yes.
a opportunity crisis together. And I would say that 22nd of March, I still remember it was a Sunday when Modi ji announced close down and 23rd lockdown began. By 25th or 26th March, our first online trainings have begun, which was focusing on change management, competencies, and all those things. So that way, we had time from 12th March to about 23rd March to prepare ourselves and schedule or reschedule everything that we were planning. And it was amazing. But when Corona started, that lockdown started, you can imagine how the situation was. It was difficult for people to come in a positive state of mind. Everybody was fearful, from employees to leaders, everyone was lost. And that was a time I think really worked well for us when our HR department was working Saturdays, Sundays, late nights. So the whole wide world was playing with their family. I can assure you that none of my L&D department's employee was doing that. Nobody ever played carom, nobody ever played Ludo with their family. Nobody tried cooking with their family in those lockdown days because they were working 16, 18 hours a day. There were a number of initiatives we had started to manage the situation. We started something called as Learning Bite. If you remember, there was a lot of information coming from every universities and consultants, and everybody was giving a lot of free information, which was really good. Free training sessions were really good. But that was an overwhelming information for employees. So we started with bite-sized learning every day by the level of employees. Every day we would send them something for 15 minutes to 30 minutes, whether it's a video or a recording. And on the basis of the situation we are in, if it is a moment, a day to send something positive, is it a day to send something related to wellness? Is it a day something to send with work from home related activity? Or focusing on the competencies like learning agility, focusing on customer creativity and innovations. You would not believe that in the first week itself, number of departments have re-evaluated their processes. And Mr. Sharma, Brigadier Sharma, I would say there were very few companies at that point in time who were able to revive so fast the change of their processes as well as aligning their people to work in the situation they were. So being in this fraternity for the last 20 years, I've been talking to my friends who've been in learning, talent management and HR. And there were two type of people then. One was doing nothing and thinking that, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? And they were worrying. And the other type of people who were really busy and they were doing multiple things and innovative things to get their manpower at least in a state of well-being. And that's when the business started coming back in shape. That's when a lot of meetings, a lot of sessions, a lot of training. And I think within 2 months, we were in a super flow. And I don't know how many organizations were able to start back by the month of May. I remember that in the beginning of May, we had the HR and the senior employees had started coming to the office. And it was really a focused approach during that time. And today when I reflected, I would say that our organization and our team was one of the few who were like really standing strong in those difficult times. And it was really beautiful. Blessing in disguise.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. So, so the biggest learning was I could make out that you have to innovate, you have to find new ways of doing things, and you have to continue, and you just cannot give up and sit on your haunches and say, all right, no, let's see. No, you cannot let. Yes, we must. Compliment JSL for and your financial results. I have seen they are wonderful, and the way that you all have recovered, it's really wonderful. The way, uh,
Absolutely. I would say for learning and development, it was all the more difficult because when we started doing those sessions online, first time employees were coming to Zoom or Google Hangout. So in the beginning of session, we have to tell them which button does what. And when I will open the session, I would tell them that this is a difficult time. 20 years, I am a master of standing and talking. And I'm very proud of that. I've spent maybe more than 10,000 hours on this skill. And today I am zero. I cannot use that skill. I cannot go stand somewhere and start talking. This skill is of no use to me. I have to learn a new skill. And that is to be able to sit in front of the computer and talk properly. And it was very difficult because physically
yeah,
I move a lot, being used to of doing stand-up trainings.
yes,
I would say thanks to my team who took the fort, and there were employees who were really really young, just 2 years, 3 years of experience. We got them certified through SHRM, an online facilitation, through Harvard Business Education Access. We helped them learn. So they were the ones who were leading the show, and I was the one who was learning. Whether it is Kahoot, Twitter, Zoom, Google Hangout, it's kind of I'm playing this game from 20 years, and you change the playground and the rules.
Just as a point of interest, because we are a learning and development organization, what has been the response of shop floor employees to virtual learning? Are they sitting in front of laptops, or are they using their mobile phones? How have they taken on to this virtual learning, Nitin?
I think that's a very amazing question, and a lot of organization and my fellows in HR really need to hear this one. It is really beautiful. Our first most bias was it's not possible. Because in a manufacturing organization, you don't give laptops and computers to everybody. Even some of the managers also won't have laptop and computers. They don't need it at the shop floor. So the first impression was that, my God, we can't do anything. But within a month time, we realized that our 95% of the employees, including the blue collar employees, including the contract employees, 95+% of the employees have a smartphone. And when we were talking about it, there was a little bit of case study in another steel company which were saying that it's not possible. And when I was talking to my plants, they were hesitant, and I was constantly pushed back. And the team at the corporate was pushed back that you don't understand that how to teach welding, we cannot teach it online. You don't understand it. And we
Yeah.
kept pushing them. But within a month, we were able to realize that when we did our first session for our frontline for blue collar employees, and they were working from home or wherever they were, not even working also. It was just a training going on. So I remember that Google Hangout call because they were doing meetings on Google Hangout. They were not able to access Zoom. Literally, somebody was sitting under a tree in a village. A person was riding a bicycle with a mobile phone in his hand. They were
Yes.
in the country. And I was amazed to see that. And thanks to Aaj Tak, there was a video released by Aaj Tak, and that video was really beautiful. Imagine there were hundreds of young kids are running in a straight line, and then they start climbing the stairs. They're climbing the stairs, and the camera is following them, climbing the stairs, climbing the stairs, climbing the stairs, and then they reach out the top. It is a water tank, and that water tank is filled with these students all around it. They are attending CBSE classes on a smartphone, or whatever they're learning.
Yeah.
Their classes are going
Yeah.
on of these kids.
Yeah.
And this
Wonderful.
video was from a very small village of Odisha.
Quite right.
Show this
Okay.
video to our team, show this video to the HR business leaders, and talk about that if they can go and stand up on that water tank to learn, what is wrong with our employees to learn?
Yes. Yes. So that means, in a way, it's been a blessing in disguise, because otherwise we always would find a training hall and sit down and do formal training. And,
Yeah.
So now you can do, just in time, as and when required, on your mobile phone, do for half an hour, 1 hour, and then carry on with your work. We'll have more discussion on this topic, Nitin. I'll come back to this because this is a wonderful learning for all of us. I want to take you a little into the future before we come back to the present. You know, we all talk about automation. I know JSL is into digital transformation, and it's one of the areas which you all take seriously, which everybody should take seriously. We all understand that automation will drive colossal change over the coming years,
Correct.
creating new jobs and disrupting millions of jobs. I'm not talking about India only, or about manufacturing sector only. I'm talking about globally. There'll be millions of jobs created and millions of jobs will be lost. New jobs will be created. Now, what sort of jobs do you think will emerge? And how do you prepare for those jobs when you don't even know what those jobs are going to be? So, I mean, how do you look into the future, Nitin?
Very well said, but I will correct one thing, sir. You said millions of jobs would be created and billions of jobs would be lost. I would say vice versa. There would be billions that will be created and millions will be lost.
Yes,
So there is
okay. Yes.
coming in, because if
Yes.
this statement is not true that more jobs are there, then there is no problem for us to hunt talent. Then talent should be easily available.
Right.
Talent is easily available. That means there are more jobs than the people for those jobs. I think it is very natural. Let's take my example of 20 years working in L&D and being here. My job has changed a lot, what it was before Corona. My people from HR, their job has changed a lot. So digitalization or technology has changed every job, and it will continue to change every job. It is all about being able to work towards your own employability. So it's not the organization or HR responsibility. It is an individual responsibility to see how they are proving their employability. If I don't learn anything and just stay stable with my current knowledge and information, I'll be outdated. And it's the same case scenario maybe 20 years ago or 30 years ago when computers came in. Everybody had to upskill them to stay in the job. It's the same situation. Maybe the human cry is more this time. It is exactly the same situation. You asked what new jobs would come. I would say there will be so many jobs that will be coming related with digital technologies. I'm sorry, somebody was saying something?
No, no, it's fine. No, it's all right. Huh?
Right. So a lot of jobs related to digital technologies. So to give you an example, there was a job in my previous company, Rockwell Automation. It was a job of an LMS administrator. So this one of a mentee called up and said, "Is this a job in learning and development?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "No, the description says something completely different." I said, "That's the new learning and development. That working on LMS is one key skill that you need, and you can't manage that technology. Then as a L&D specialist, your half of the role is gone. We don't want you to sit and consolidate feedback forms. We don't want you to send feedback forms, fill up feedback forms, fill up attendance sheets. All that is gone." So every job is changing, and digital is the key. So whether it is IT related jobs, artificial intelligence, data scientist. So all my fellow colleagues who are probably younger and their early stages of college and passing out 1 to 3 years of experience, you have to look at your developmental plan for next year, and you have to blindly sign up for at least one thing related to technology to learn. And it is not to you, it is to me also and Mr. Sharma also. So Brigadier Sharma, with this much of experience, I am sure you are also learning new things in technology. And
Yes,
you will be outdated.
yes. I'm learning all the time.
So those are the new jobs coming in. Every job that is touching technology, learn technology in that job. That is very key important thing for you to be employable. Otherwise, don't tell 1 year, 2 years down the line, I've been asked to leave, I don't have a job in hand and blah, blah, blah. It's your mistake. You have to learn yourself. Second most important thing is that for businesses, it is important for them to continuously upskill their people. They don't have a choice. Either they can every year hire new talent with new skills, which is obviously difficult, or they can build their people out of those learnings. For example, data analytics is a critical job in every department nowadays. So in every department, they should be focusing on building certain people as data analysts or data scientists in their own department. Instead of thinking of hiring a data scientist 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line, today is the time to start training and upskilling people. And every job has a technological aspect in it. Learning that is the new job.
Quite right.
It might
Yes.
change, but the work would change. So learn technology is very critical.
The only thing I wanted to know was, great companies like you, people, they don't want to leave those companies who are working for you for so many years. Over the years, you would have built up a cadre of employees who have been with you 15, 20, 25, 30 years and in their late 40s, early 50s. You know, so there is an inbuilt resistance for change, with this age of employees, and you can't, just tell them to go home. I mean, they are your people who have given their best years of their life to you. So, how do you overcome this kind of a resistance to technology and new learning and upskilling from this, age employee, this group of 45, 50, 55 age group?
Wonderful, sir. So two things I want to tell before I answer this question. JSL is an organization where people are working mostly for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. A major population in our company has been that long, and there are employees even who are on level 1, which we call it associate managers or managers, senior managers, AGM, DGMs, who are in an age bracket of 45 to 55. So that is the demographics of the organization. Secondly, in last 1 year, JSL has won 3 awards in learning and development, and 2 of them are related with technology. One is the best mobile learning, and another one is the best technology used in L&D, and one was the HR excellence. So one side we have a very, very, very senior population. On the other side, we are hitting best practices in the market in last 1 year. The question is how? And the answer is very simple. Change is the easiest when you don't have a choice. If you have a choice, then change is difficult. Then you will do introspection and 20,000 things. But if tomorrow is a lockdown, it's a lockdown. You can't do anything about it. So you would accept it, and your acceptance speed would be faster. It's the same thing. In JSL, learning is not a choice. It is a compliance. Why it is a compliance? Because there are so many things, if you do not learn as an employee, you would not be able to sustain the department or the company, and everything will start shattering down. So it is not a choice. It is not a choice to learn to use Google Hangout or Zoom. It is not a choice to use the Teams. It is not a choice to conduct your meetings and how do you virtually manage your team. These are not our choices anymore. It is not a choice to learn your executive presence, your presentation skills, your communication, all these things sitting away from the computer. These are all important skills. So how we manage that age group is a simple thing, is that there was no choice, number one. Number two, think it from a customer perspective. I hate technology. Personally, for me to operate my bank from my mobile phone is a nightmare. I'm that badly challenged. But what do I need as a customer? I need continuously assistant and hand holding, and then I'm able to probably do it. When I'm forced to pay on mobile or do any transaction on mobile, usually the customer care or somebody would guide me through it, or friend guide me through it, and I'll get through it. Once I'll do it, I'll realize, oh, it wasn't that difficult. It was a matter of a minute or two. It was just a barrier in the mind. I think we've been continuously training our employees on being adaptable, on learning agility, and also digitalization. And we've been telling very upfront that there's no choice. If you as a function or as an individual leader or your people will not participate in all those digitalization projects, will not participate in data analytics, will not participate in working with us through various mediums of electronic communication, I'm sorry, we can't work on it. So when I joined here, there was not so much of culture of emails. I was rather asked by people, why are you sending an email? Just call. I would say, because email is communication and I have to communicate a lot. This is easier for me. And then people would say, why do you have to send an invite? We will just meet. So that was what we experienced, and that is the shift we made within a month. In the month of April, sending emails, sending invites, making a schedule, planning projects, doing all those meetings, managing projects in Agile, everything was learned in a month. And that magic was, there was no choice.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I think we've understood that, and I'm sure we wish you all the success in your endeavors. Now, I'll come to an area which is about being business centricity. Now, we feel that in many businesses, the learning focus is too broad, resulting in learning for learning's sake. How can businesses develop a business-centric approach to L&D? While helping the people to develop, because a focus of business centricity we feel is very important, especially for L&D. So how do we do that?
Sure.
Develop business centricity, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So when you say learning for the learning's sake, I think the problem is not with the business, it is a problem with HR and learning and development departments. Imagine we are trying to force feed something that they don't feel is important or needed. So obviously the consumption and usage of that is not that great. I can understand when you have compliance trainings and things which are mandatory, those are necessary information and those are awareness information and not learning a particular skill. But if we try to teach a skill that business do not see a return, then we are wasting our time, business's time, employees' time. And a simple solution to this is that instead of the mullah going to the masjid, let the masjid come to mullah, which I would say simply means it is the function and the business who will decide what to learn and how to learn. We are facilitators, we are people consultants. So in our organization, we are ensuring and working hard that every function has to have their learning strategy. What is their learning and development plan for next 1 to 2 years? What are the future skills that they see in their domain? Let's say I'm a supply chain function. I need to understand what are the current skill gaps of my people. And I have to personalize this learning. I have to understand that what are the skills that are required in the future. What kind of a what kind of a disruption technology will do in my function? And what kind of a skill set my employees will need 2 years down the line. And the third thing is that giving careers to your people as a function. So when you say the businesses focusing on the learning just for the sake of learning, rather implementing the learning and giving a business benefit, that is only possible when HR or learning and development teams will educate business leaders how to make a people strategy for next 2 years. Your people strategy will have two parts to it. One part of it is the development part. What skills are currently missing and what skills are future skills. And the other one is planning the succession, the manpower of future. Am I going to buy manpower with the new skills in future, or am I going to start building that now itself? Building is much better now at this stage because the number of things that are to be learned in rocket science. Even today, I would say we must change the phrase rocket science, because today people can learn rocket science and sitting in a village in maybe somewhere in Orissa having a smartphone, and if they want to learn rocket science they can learn rocket science.
Actually, I have seen pictures of ISRO pictures in the in Orissa carrying the rockets on their cycles.
True, see, that's the reality. So businesses have to prioritize, business have to make their own functional learning strategy that has to focus on the current skill gap, what is the future skill, and what does employee require to build their career. Employees are not going to learn because anybody is saying them to learn. They can only learn when they wish to learn, and that is applicable to my 6 years old daughter also, that is applicable to my 62 years old boss also. Anybody will learn when they wish to learn, and they would learn when they know what's in it for them, not because business is saying that. That's why personalizing learning would be key for the business.
Yes, yeah, we fully agree with that. We're fully with you there, sir. We'll take it a little forward, this idea of business centricity. We feel that organizations should start to recognize that learning is connected to a whole host of workforce concerns, such as well-being, diversity, belonging, as well as how we value people in the workplace. So we feel that L&D has a much broader role to play than it is seen to be playing. It has a development role, it has a talent role, it has motivational role, it has building a brand, many other roles. We feel L&D has a much larger role to play. So how can L&D people, your friends who are in other companies, your colleagues, break out of this vertical silo and play their larger role in the future workplace? Take L&D to a much higher level.
Sure. So I personally feel that L&D doesn't have to do anything to go out and tell them tell the business that let us help, let us do this, let us do that. We don't have to do sell and oversell or anything. I think it is the business need. They cannot survive without learning and structuring learning in their workforce. And they actually need help from L&D because L&D has specialization on human psychology. They have a specialization on structured and processed learning. They have a specialization of monitoring learning and business outcome. If businesses will start doing that by themselves, they will be learning a lot of things. They will be able to do it. Maybe they will take about a year or two to become very good at it. But if they take support from learning and development teams, they would be able to do that much faster, much better, because that's the subject area of those teams. But no function, no company can live without learning and development. If I was doing a work of 1 crore last year, this year I have to do 10 crore, next year I have to do 30 crore, next year I have to do 50 crore. Next 5 years, careers in learning and development are brilliant, not because this is some great field to be in or something like that. It is the need of the hour. Because new things will keep getting introduced in the businesses. Let it be technology, let it be processes, let it be creation of new functions. For example, we have to do a lot of OD interventions when we start to realize that certain roles might become redundant, and there are certain roles that will be required in future. So how do we manage all these continuous changes? By helping people learn. If you have to change your performance management system, how would you tell the organization what you're going to do? You will do a lot of sessions to educate people about a performance management system. Let's say you're getting a new software, you're getting a SAP, or you're getting some kind of a technology of customer interface. How would you tell your manpower how to use that technology, how to use those processes? You would have to train your manpower, you have to educate, you have to do a lot of sessions. So every people manager, every leader has to become a teacher and a trainer. It is that much a need. And L&D specialists are only this much in the world, and the need is this much. So every leader has to turn into an L&D specialist or a management specialist, and that is the only way out. And L&D alone cannot handle it. I'm certain the companies who have focus of L&D, their L&D employees barely get weekends. Their L&D employees don't have a work-life balance. And that is from 1 year now. And that will continue to be like that.
Fully agree with it, because with my own experience in the army, I've seen some of our best generals have been great teachers. They are the people who brought up their teams, who brought up their subordinates, and so it's not just that you yourself become a high flyer in life. It's how you coach people, how you develop people. And I think L&D, what you're saying, absolutely right. Every manager must be a coach of some sort, So we will.
Absolutely, and there's no choice that you would have in future about it.
We fully agree with you there on that, and I'll not take you a little ahead about we've been through so much of change last 1 year, and we're looking at more change as we look ahead. So Mr. Nitin, all L&D managers are uniquely positioned, there's no doubt, as you have yourself brought out, to support their workforce, to support their other departments, and lead the organizations through change initiatives. They can create alignments across the organization. L&D is connected to every department. They can create alignments, increase success of the change initiatives. So what has been your experience in helping management of change in the organizations that you have served in? How do you find performing this role as an L&D leader?
Sure. So I think a lot of our audience would have read this book called Who Moved My Cheese? And one of the greatest learning in that book is that change does not happen overnight. It was coming, you were not able to see it. So 2012 had given a lot of realizations, and a lot of changes in the organizations were going on in most of the organizations, especially related to the structural changes, the org structural changes, and things like that. And HR, whosoever is in HR, had been learning or focusing on change management since 2012. So I remember I got certified as a global facilitator for change management in 2014. And the first thing that we did was certifying our HR colleagues. All HR BPs were certified to understand that how to facilitate a change management project. What are the things that they have to do with the core team to manage a change management project? How do they do stakeholder analysis? How do they create uh, a strategy which will help them manage change on the people side, on the process side, and on the equipment side, all these things. And as we go, and those who are in HR, whenever they have to support the organization in change management, ideal is they would go for a certification or a course in change management, and then they'll come back and teach the HR about that course and the business leaders about the course, and then start facilitating big projects. So imagine in earlier times, maybe 2012 or 14, if you have 20 department, 30 functions in your organization, maybe one, two, or three or through some kind of structural changes. That was the speed of change. Today, if you have 20, 30 departments in your organization, almost 25 departments out of 30 would be going through organizational structuring changes. So the work has increased a lot. You don't have a choice other than certifying your HR and your business heads on change management. And all that they have to do is use that methodology. And it's simple. It's like if I learn Six Sigma, or if I learn PMP, or if I learn Agile, all that I have to do is the templates, the processes that I have learned, I have to implement to the project and ensure execution. And that is what HR is doing today when they're participating in these change management projects. But it is not sufficient. We don't have enough manpower in HR to manage this much. And most of the times, the business leaders' focus is on the task. The people side is left out. So there are research which have proved this research is on the mergers, acquisitions, where it talks about that almost 77% of merger acquisitions fail. And the biggest reason of failing these mergers and acquisitions is because of the people change management. Organizations are able to integrate technology, integrate processes, systems, structure, finances. They integrate everything. The last thing comes to their mind is the people and the change management, and that's why these things fail. And the organizations like Cisco, which had been always doing mergers and acquisitions, their change management is very strong on the people side. So our HR and business leaders are to be certified as a change management catalyst. Every function has to have one or two people who are responsible to manage change management in that function for people, and that's how you move forward. You need change catalyst in every function. There's no choice because you don't need continuous changes. And human beings don't like changes. We like stability.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, I'll take this a little forward. I mean, we've already discussed this a little bit about digital transformation. But let's come down to the, how do we, what challenges and how we overcome these challenges. The world of work is constantly changing, Mr. Thakur. Rapid developments in technology, shifts in the business market. Many companies, especially in the manufacturing sector, in your sector, on their digital transformation journey, are facing challenges of IT. Get the best IT, the best technology. Innovation, how to innovate with existing, employee reluctance, budget is also not, these technologies are expensive. So what role can L&D play in enabling digital transformation in businesses, especially in the manufacturing sector?
Sure, sir. I think there are two very important roles that L&D has to play. And the first task that I'm giving to all the L&D fellows, colleagues who are there on this call is that if you cannot make digitalization as one of the core strategy of your organization, then there is a trouble. That means every major function, every CXO must have digitalization as one of their big 5 or big 6 goals. And that's L&D's job to help understand the management why this has to be a separate business in every function. IT needs it, and care needs it, corp communication needs it, sales needs it, finance needs it, supply chain needs it, procurement needs it. Every function has to have a strategy dedicated to digitalization, and there's no choice. Otherwise, you will be late, and it'll be too late. That's number one. Number two, L&D themselves have to have a core strategy of digitalization, where they need to have tactics related with digitalization, such as that they have to go digital themselves first. So, for example, when Corona started, we decided that we were about to sign crores of contracts of classroom trainings, and we stopped it. And consultants were very uneasy the moment we stopped, but we know where we're going. And we were able to establish a community of trainers and consultants with us who were probably the pioneers in ensuring everything is digital. No classroom training, we don't want to go back to it for next 1 year, 1.5 years. Even today, I say if people are thinking Corona is ending and they are waiting to go back to classroom and that's why they have not started or shifted their department to digital mode, they are mistaken. If they haven't, they must shift to digital mode right now, 100%. And when we'll be back to normal, it won't take time for us to get into the hybrid mode. It'll be easy. It'll be done. Follow universities. Read about universities. What are their plans? What are they doing? And things like that. So L&D department has to go digital. Their medium has to be digital. They have to start using all those things. Second is teach digitalization. So when we design programs, sir, we typically say that, let's say our level 1 or level 2 or level 3 employee, these are the 5 competencies or these are the 7 critical skills that this level of employee should learn. Digitalization should be one of the subject out of that 5 or 7 subjects that you are teaching that level in next 1 to 2 years. And when you're teaching them digitalization, what are you doing? Number one, you're making them aware. You're making them aware of what's happening in AI in your industry, what is happening with a number of technologies, for example, with your capabilities of AI, with your capabilities of supply chain, with your capabilities of data analytics, so many things. Every function needs some or the other digitalization. So when we start training employees on digitalization, we are somewhere making them aware and telling them that this is not a choice again. You got to go and look for the projects that are going in your function or the people who are reaching you. How does digitalization projects fail? The step 1 of digitalization is data. You need data in a certain manner stored and given, and then data analytics, then certain patterns, and then you start doing that data can talk among the departments. So the step 1 is giving data. So imagine somebody comes to me and is asking for a data from L&D and I would not give it, or I would delay it, or I would not give a good quality data. It is going to sabotage the digitalization project badly. So every employee has to start supporting every digitalization project around them. And you teach the employees when you're teaching them digitalization. You teach them all those things that they need to learn to maintain employability. Another important thing is that there has to be a huge partnership with IT department. So L&D strategy of digitalization has to partner with IT department for 2 reasons. One, we need a lot of equipment from them. And second, we want their policies to be altered. And both the things are not easy. Number one, that you want a lot of equipment, you want a lot of things, you want a lot of budget, and it's not easy to get it overnight. So there has to be a solid business case if you are looking forward to give speakers to employees, to cameras to employees, to give internet connection to employees, or you're giving smartphones to your management and employees. Whatever the case may be, the IT has to make a lot of investment, and it is only possible when IT is supported by learning and development. And the way we make a business case before selling a leadership journey.
Right. Absolutely.
In the same way, we have to help IT make the business case. IT might not be that good at selling business cases. We do it every day. So it is a job to give 10 proposals and 5 will get rejected, 5 will get selected. That's what we've been doing. IT might not be doing that. So we have to partner with IT. Second is the policy part. Smartphone is the only part. It is impossible for any organization to provide a laptop or probably to a desktop to every employee other than the IT organizations. In an IT organization, support functions would not need it a lot of IT equipment and all. So your own device, your own smartphone, which is there with everybody almost, that is your solution. So now you have to think that what all can be done with the mobile phone, and that's how you proceed with it. And that's how you alter the policies. A lot of companies, especially manufacturing, do not have a mobile phone allowed in the manufacturing unit itself.
Right. Yes, I know.
L&D department has to challenge it. Why is it not allowed? What is the problem to have it in the cafeteria? What is the problem to have it in the library? What is the problem to have it in the training room? What is the problem to have XYZ place? Okay, you don't get it from the shop floor. Of course, we understand it can cause accidents. There could be 20,000 issues. There could be piracy issues. There could be copyright issues. Don't let it go to R&D department. Don't let it go to shop floor. But review review your policy. You have to, you cannot say this is how it is being done. An L&D department does not have to hear that. This is how it is being done. I want to tell all my fellow colleagues in HR, don't hear no as an answer. If you're hearing no as an answer, you're working in the old world. Please don't do that. There's no no. There's a solution. Go find it. And in our language, we say make the shit happen. Just make it happen. And that's what I think we have to do. And the third important thing is when you're teaching digitalization, nobody would learn it unless you relate it with day-to-day work. So there has to be organization-wide digitalization projects. There has to be your high potentials working on those projects and see the magic within a year. And I invite you to my organization. I'll make you meet with many leaders who have led digitalization projects in last 1 year. How our customer base is using digital media to make orders, to do the sales and everything, delivery, everything is going on digital. Our salespeople are not in customers' places. They're able to manage it from away. And that's the magic that digitalization would do.
Yes. I'll share with you an experience. We recently did a training program for Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, in which we had 47 scientists sitting at about 30 locations all over India. They're all research and development labs, all the top labs of the country. And it was an online training. So all of them were sitting in their labs, attending the training with their laptops on. I could see them sitting with their, lot of testing equipment behind them. So it was the work was going on, the learning was going on. Of course, both cannot go simultaneously, but it was going on at the same time. Now, this is something that I want to do, to discuss with you about learning on the job and in the flow of work. In the flow of work. We all hear about 70-20-10 framework, 70% OJT, 20% interaction and collaboration, and 10% formal learning. Of course, if you reduce the formal learning, it puts people like us out of job. But how do you think that this can be done? That we can do training in the flow of work, on the job, support informal training. So how do you see this whole gambit of
Sure, sir.
Training?
Very well said. I think this is not the keyword of the day. This is a reality or the fact about learning. So my boss, my guru, who is pretty senior and veteran in the industry of HR, he actually gave a very beautiful analogy on this. While explaining it to us, he said that look at the army. So when they are not working, they are not fighting at the post, still they are continuously doing something. They're continuously learning, they're building bridges, or they are helping people, they are helping when other situations. So their learning is part of their job. They are not going separately to learn and then come. It is everyday job for them, years and years and years. It's the same thing for human brain. It is exactly the same thing. You learn the best when you're doing it, when you're continuously practicing something. So learning has to be part of your job. And how it is part of your job? Maybe one idea could be bite-sized learning, or in the flow of learning, or in the moment learning, where I need to learn something, I have a resource available, I can learn from there, immediately I implement it. For example, the other day my iPhone hanged and I was kind of stuck. I looked at the Google, what to do. Google just made me learn immediately what buttons I need to press to restart it. And it just happened. So I learned it in the moment and I implemented the learning and I remember it, I can teach it to others. It's exactly the same. You have to learn continuously as you're working, and it should really mix well. It is not anymore that you will learn or do a course and then probably implement the years or months and so on. So number one is that bite-sized learning, micro learning, in-moment learning, all those resources are to be available with the employees. Second most important thing is that there are certain strategic decisions we make when we are teaching employees something. Let's say we are teaching them competencies, or we are teaching them some leadership practices, or we are teaching them something related to technology or their functional capability. When we are teaching them, we have to associate projects, real work. So at JSL, whenever we we do any program, there is no 1 day, 2 day program happening with us anymore. We do 6 months journey, 9 months journey, 14 months journey. And with that journey, we associate action learning project, which is a real time project related to work. It should not be part of your job description. It has to be over and above your job description. It should be part of your individual development plan. Let's say if somebody wants to learn data analytics, and that's not really part of that person's job, that person can learn data analytics, but without a project in data analytics, that learning is incomplete. And when we put these projects are to be tracked, are to be monitored, and are to be rewarded. I understand that if there are hundreds of projects that employees take for their development, maybe 30%, 40%, 50% might fail. But the question is not that project has to be successful. Our intention or objective was that the learning was implemented. Whether the project is successful or project is a failure, the brain has learned a new skill. Our intention is fulfilled. But those projects which are successful, they are an easy indication for you to monitor the return on investment that you're putting in training. It is easier to see a business impact that way. So learning in the workflow means you have to learn and implement. Otherwise, it's not learning. It's not. For example, when I do interviews of graduate engineers or MBAs, I ask them that, what is your college schedule? They will typically say that, oh, it is Monday to Friday. Friday the classes are till 4 o'clock. Saturday, Sunday, no classes. And then I'll ask them, okay, what have you done on Saturdays, Sundays? And if they say nothing, I will not hire them. If they say they have done projects, they have worked with somebody, they have done some CSR, they were working, they were implementing their knowledge somewhere on those Friday evenings, Saturdays and Sundays, then they are a good candidate for me. Otherwise, they are not a good candidate because they have implemented that knowledge in the internship programs.
Yes, we are with you there. We are with you there. Absolutely. Yes. We are running short of time, but I've got some more questions. We'll quickly. There's something important about leadership. That is an area which we need to explore a little bit. Nitin, over the last 1 year, we all face stress and anxiety. We feel at this point of time, leaders must exhibit higher levels of empathy, emotional intelligence, among other soft skills. So which leadership skills do companies need to build in their leaders at various levels, which is the most suitable approach for developing the leaders of tomorrow? I mean, you have, a large workforce, large number of, so how do you feel we should, the right leaders at the right time for tomorrow?
Sure. So this topic is age old and it still stays the same. So we used to talk about that when you start your career, you need more functional and technical skills. As you move in the middle of your career, you need management skills and technical skills and functional skills. As you move to the leadership level, 80-90% is the management skills that you need. And maybe 10%, 20% barely you will need functional technical skills. It's the same thing today. So people management skills become extremely critical when you are in a leadership role, when you are a people manager. And people management skills are not too many, they are simple, maybe 5-7 of them. You should know how to set expectations with your employees, set clear goals, set clear objectives. You should know how to feedback when they are working or they need areas of improvement or they need encouragement. So there has to be a continuous feedback. You need to understand how to manage different personalities in a different way because one size will not fit all. You have to understand how to coach people. You have to understand how do you handle difficult conversations. So broadly 5-7 skills to be a great people manager. And that is what we have to work upon and train our people managers on it. So I would say share two things. One, that what have we done for the leadership in the last one year or last 14 months or 15 months. So we have trained our leadership on situational leadership, on crucial conversations, on giving and receiving feedback, on wellness. So these are the critical topics we trained them on because these are very, very critical. Especially, I would say the organizations where the culture had been hierarchical or the culture had been top bottom. Times have changed. Today, when I'm sitting with you and I was preparing for this session, I was sitting with my colleague who is barely 3 years of experience in learning and development. And you may say, Nitin, that's very stupid. You are a 20 years experienced guy. Why do you need advice of a 3 years experienced person to handle a small interview that you're doing day in, day out? I need it. Because it's different. I have a limited thinking. They have a better horizon. They have a much better capability to think innovatively, creatively. They have a better capability to challenge the status quo biases that we have in our mind. It's the same thing. So leaders have to learn leadership spirituality, I would say. Because
Quite right.
when you're taking a decision, let's say I in a leadership capacity take a decision that we have to manage productivity. We will probably have to ask for a reduction in force by 5%, 10%. A leader who is actually strong will understand there are so many families that I'm going to impact. I have to find another solution. It is not that you will force people to do things and work out on it. It is important to manage the well-being of people. Today, if you have made a lot of profit, but you have impacted your 50% organization with psychological diseases, I think it's a big failure of the organization and the leader. If a leader is doing great as a function, meeting their targets and getting best of the awards and accolades in the world, but their people are not happy, the families are not happy, I think that leader has failed miserably. You might be able to compromise your profits a little bit. It is okay to compromise those revenue targets and those crazy aspirational goals. Slow down. Human being is important, life is important, psychologically better well-being is more important, and that's a longer run. So when I studied at Harvard, the last semester focused on very important aspect, and that is that you have to think beyond yourself, your own city, company, country. You have to think about humanity. What is the bigger cause that you're living for? And what is the bigger impact that you're going to make in the community and this world? That is more important. When we manufacture stainless steel, we don't feel proud that we are the biggest company of stainless steel and we're the sixth largest in the world in stainless steel. Actually, we are most proud of the things that we create. Things that we create for our army, for our defense, things that we create for people and technology and medical, pharma. The things that we create that makes us feel proud of making stainless, and that too world-class stainless, which is changing lives. And that's a bigger purpose for every leader. If the leader is running the vicious circle of their goals, targets, and getting stressing other people, harassing their employees, they are lost. They really need psychological help. And they really need to learn about leadership spirituality. That's why we've been saying it's necessary for leaders to practice yoga, meditation, or probably Reiki, any form. It will calm you down. It will help you understand to listen better. It will help you understand to question better. It will help you to understand that you're not living in the same world where you will harass people as per their designations. Today,
Yes.
you might be the highest designation and you might be talking to the lowest designation. And if you don't talk properly, that designation who might seem to be the lowest designation, or maybe that youngster who has just started working with you and has 0 years of experience, that person will tell you, sir, that please follow some respectful communication. You are a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
We are
yes.
ready to listen to that. And we as training and learning and development community is going to teach people to tell their leaders to give feedback to people above.
Quite right. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So we are with you. And there's a question from Ms. Soumya Singh in the audience. She's asking, is it the leaders who should drive L&D initiatives in an organization, or should it come from the LOB, that line of business? What the employees' knowledge gaps are. Who should drive the initiative? Is it the leaders or the people in the line?
Sure. So I think there's no one line answer to it. There's not possible that only business leaders can do this. Because when we do training need identification, we do it from different perspectives. Number one, we ask the HODs, CXOs that in their function, what are the current skill gap and what are the future skills required. That is as per the HOD of the company, of the function. Second, we collect that information from individuals when they make their individual development plan. An individual development plan means I need career growth and these are the areas I need to learn. Other than these areas, there are different mediums online which have the capability of artificial intelligence. So my job description can be compared with the HODs of L&D worldwide, and then I can get a recommended learning path where it says that worldwide L&D professionals are learning this, and this is not even in your JD. So there are multiple information that is coming to me as a training need identification, and there are multiple people who have to work on it. And we can take the horse to the water, but we can't force the horse to drink the water. So learning happens by the individual only.
Yes.
That can be led by leaders, but if I don't know what's in it for me, I'm not going to learn, sir. That is for
That's
sure.
Well, sir, we can't let you go. There's a question, one more come from the audience, Ayushman Datta. He says, should the employees follow their bosses? Should bosses be more humane and empathic post-COVID-19? This is Mr. Ayushman Datta.
Sure. So, should the bosses be a little more humane after COVID? I think they should have been earlier also. If they were educated and aware, what are they doing? So imagine there are numerous cases that I know as a psychologist, that there are people who are on medication due to stress and anxiety. And the reason that stress and anxiety is part of their life for lifelong, because they had a bad manager. They had a bad boss who made them feel that they're good for nothing, who made them feel how stupid and idiot they are. And over a period of time, these people started to believe it. Then they went on anxiety, stress, then they went to the doctor, took medication, and that medication is part of their life. So if these business leaders actually had a data, how many people they have made psychologically sick in their career, they will be really ashamed of themselves. So every leader had to be humane and has to be humane and should be humane in future. They were missing out. It has nothing to do with Corona. It is simple common sense that they were missing in that rut, in that rat race, in that craziness, that they were just forgetting it. Maybe Corona did one thing to them. Corona stopped them and forced them to think what is more important. They were fearful of their family. They were fearful about their parents. They were fearful about their friends. They experienced stress and anxiety. And when you experience something, then you realize the pain of the other person. Then you are more empathetic. So I'm very glad all our leaders went through the depths of depression and anxiety due to Corona. Now they can respect employees' psychological well-being better.
Yes, I think Mr. Ayushman Datta would be happy with that answer. We hate to let you go, but I think the time is it's already over. We already exceeded our time. But it's been wonderful, Dr. Nitin, to have you. You have been very frank, and I'm really touched by your humility and the example you gave of the young man who helped you in preparing for this event. That humility is something which is everybody requires. That is what a great leader should be. And I would like to share any final thoughts before we ask our team to display our
Sure.
certificate.
Sure. So my request to everybody who was listening to this and who would probably listen to the recording. So I'm sure there must be few things that we would have learned from this talk. And I would ask you for Guru Dakshina. So whatever you learn, even if you learn one small thing from me, I want my Guru Dakshina. And my Guru Dakshina is that I want you to go and teach somebody, coach somebody or mentor somebody. This world is not going to progress better if you don't teach anybody. And there's nobody in this world who can't teach anything. You have certain skill, you have certain expertise in your own field. Please go teach people and give them a better living, give them a better life. And that'll be my Guru Dakshina for telling you whatever I told you this day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I must really clap today. May I also request Mr. Mobin to display the certificate of our appreciation and our thanks, our gratitude to you, sir, from our head of the institute, Dr. Nitin Batra.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we will send you a hard copy, which you can, if you would like, and you can put it in your office. Thank you very much for doing us this honor of accepting our this certificate, sir. And we really do look forward to having you once again maybe after some time we can't keep, ask you again and again. But positively, this year, once again on new ideas, new things as they emerge, interact, because you are a man with your feet on the ground, with your hands in the ground. You are on the ground, and you know what's happening on the ground, and that's very. You're not sitting in some remote, corner, watching from a distance. So it would be wonderful to have your on-hand, real-life experiences, and we look forward to that. And on behalf of everybody who attended today, we thank you very much, sir, and we hope that you will be able to join us again sometime in the future. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Sure,
very
sure.
much.